Okay, started. All right, this is group 13. We're doing our weekly get together for week 5 material. And so first, we're just going to talk about what questions we have about this week's study material. Do you have any questions about any of the material this week?
I mean, it makes sense for the most part. I think it's just kind of confusing the lines between like what's like with sales, like what's a contract, what's not, But the videos helped a lot. They kind of laid it out, so it made sense. It was just took a minute. So I feel like there's a lot of loopholes.
Yeah, there's like a lot of loopholes, or not loopholes, but like just different like ways to interpret stuff, and it's just depends on, I don't know. The whole thing for me is thinking about how if you ever go to court for certain things, sometimes I think how laws going to be implemented is going to be different than other ways, because there's just so many different ways to take the law or what's stated, and the jury can rule a different way than what you think it's going to rule. It's just, I don't know. It's just interesting because I guess it's almost kind of subjective at times, but it's not, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. No, yeah, it's kind of whatever the people that are there, kind of how they want to rule it, can go either way. Honestly, it's the issue with it.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's just kind of confusing at times because I feel like, I don't know. It's just the law is the law, but also it's like just depends.
It's anyone's game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I really have any questions about discharge or remedies. I feel like that's pretty straightforward about like when you discharge a contract or like an employee or anything on those lines. I think statutes of frauds or parole evidence or privity, I think that's pretty straightforward too. I think everything this week was pretty straightforward. It's just sometimes just how it's applied and how different things are more important than other things.
Yeah.
So this week we have to share examples for this week from our individual thing. What did you choose to do? Yours on?
I'm trying to pull it up here real quick. Go ahead and go over yours real quick while I find it.
Yeah, I did mine on examples of damages in a contract. I actually made an example, and then I kind of found one on the Wall Street Journal. I wasn't sure which one to do, so I did both. And so like for damages in a contract, I did John lives in an apartment on the top floor. It started to rain and a leak sprang right above his computer and important documents. John moved quickly to move his items before they all got soaked. Only his computer was damaged, but everything else was fine. His contract states that his property is covered by the apartment complex's damages by things that were not. Like the apartment does not cover the damages, and John sues. John wins and receives compensation for his computer and legal fees. So that's just like an example of that. The apartment didn't cover what it promised, so he sued for damages and like got compensated. And then on the Wall Street Journal, I found an article about Bitcoin Ponzi scheme, and basically in this case, it was a New York trading firm. And they were doing, it was a Ponzi scheme. They like reported false numbers of the trading they were doing with Bitcoin and other online currencies, or the type of currencies that I don't know what the name of all the currencies, but there's a bunch of different currencies online, and how they were just faking the numbers and giving fake data. And it was just a big stupid thing that they're doing. And basically because of that, people sue them for damages. Basically that they've got screwed out of money. Well, I guess screwed's not the best word to use. They got
gypped.
There we go, gypped out of money. And then also, I think they sued for interest as well, because they had their money in there and they're expecting, payout.
Yeah.
And an increase. So they sued them for damages and won. And so they had to pay $2.5 million.
Dang.
So I don't know. I think it's a pretty good example.
Yeah, mine was a pretty simple case. I did one. It's literally just about. It's kind of funny because they had a video on the like. It was part of one of the videos on the introduction or whatever. But basically, it was just on this house cleaners. They had insurance to cover like damages if something were to break while they were cleaning the house. They broke some fancy piece of artwork, whatever, that was really expensive. The owners tried to come after them, even though they knew they had a contract with it, and they had they had that liability, that coverage or whatever. Not necessarily insurance, but a disclaimer. And the people trying to sue them lost because they did indeed have that protection as far as being covered from damages and the instance of cleaning and whatnot. So it's funny too because I had when I started reading this, I instantly thought of finding a situation like that because my sister growing up had a cleaning business that she'd do for all the local people, and she had to get insurance like that because she ended up breaking something at some place that she was cleaning, and it got ugly really fast. So
Interesting. Huh. Wow. That's I don't know. That's weird. Cool. So now we got that. What are we deciding to do for our example?
I'm good either way. You tell me.
We can use yours.
Okay.
Use your example. And then we also have to come up with, what else do we have to come up with? It says we have to come up with an exam question. So what was yours on? Damages, right? Or
basically, yeah. So it's, I don't want to say it's like an insurance sort of thing, but like, so they have insurance, but they also have like a disclaimer that the owner of the home signs when they let them come in to clean that says, hey, we aren't liable for any damages, blah, 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 but they still have like insurance coverage. So
what like subset, like what subtopic was that on the example thing that week? So we can make it based off of that.
It was, let me see if I can find it real quick here.
Says, I'm just trying to pull it up right now. All right. Wasn't an option contract. Was it like a remedy? No.
Where was it?
Like due date one.
It was something to do with what applies to transactions for public goods and services. Let me look here. Risk of loss.
Risk and loss.
Risk of loss, yeah.
Risk of loss. What group was that?
What's that?
Well, I don't see it on here.
It was on my page 188 under special problems concerning sales contracts.
Oh, okay. Let's do ours on. Want to do mine or yours?
For the example or the question?
For both.
We can use yours if you want.
Okay.
Make it easier.
Whatever. Okay, so for the example, we'll just do the company promised to. Let's just do the one I did for. What was it? I'll send you the example that I used, and you can kind of change it if you want. I'll send it to you on email.
Okay.
The one about like John and his like house got like got flooded a little bit and like the damages and stuff.
Yeah.
And then for the example for our quiz question, we could do we could just use the same example we used for mine, but it can be like, oh, so John has a contract with the apartment that like if any damages are done to his
personal items
that aren't self-inflicted, like he didn't do the damages, like it was done because of the apartment.
Yeah.
He receives compensation.
And then we could do like what?
Like who is responsible for the damages, or like if there's like flooding outside, and we could put like the apartment is obligated to pay for the damages, or John has to pay for the damages done to his own equipment. Then we could do the water like the roofing company that made the roof, or I don't know what else could be one, like the weather, or none of the above. Or does that make sense? Because like the roofing one could kind of make sense because what?
Yeah.
What's up?
I'm just trying to type out the question here.
So I'll send you. I'll send it to you right now.
Okay. Lives in an apartment complex. Has a contract stating that if any damages are done to his personal belongings due to apartment fault,
copy and paste it, and then you can. I sent it, so you can just like base the question off that.
Oh, different email.
Yeah. We'll just do that, and then okay, so if that's just the question, then we're just done. So we'll do examples that we could do a different type of example because we're kind of using the same thing for the question, or we could just use both. It's like I don't think it matters. I think it's the same thing.
Yeah, I think it works good.
Okay.
So. Oh, damn. Sweet. Well, I'll just get this copied here. We can go off live.
Yeah. So I think we have the question ready. Cool. All right. Well, that wraps it up.